this. We can post this at a later date here for anybody that didn't get it, didn't get on for one reason or another. If you guys can mute your phones for a couple minutes, or mute your lines for a couple minutes, I want to make sure we keep this audio as clean as we can, and that way we can start sharing this stuff around. So let me start off real quick. You guys all know me, but for some of the people that will see this that don't know me, my name is Russ Lagan. I'm a speaker, trainer, coach, mentor. I play in the real estate business. I like to say that I'm a real estate person. I'm a business person doing real estate instead of a real estate person pretending to do business. And I tend to see things a little bit differently, and being in leadership positions, I've gotten exposed to some really cool stuff and some really cool people and some really cool training. And I've had the luck and the blessing to be surrounded by so many amazing people in my life. It's kind of changed my perspective of how I see things. So one of the things that I'm seeing going on right now consistently with issues like this is that people don't really know what's going to happen. And when you don't really know what's going to happen, you kind of go to your natural set point. So today, there's a couple of things I want to accomplish. I've got a pile of stuff behind me that I want to roll through today. I'm going to go full throttle, full contact. This will be recorded, so if something doesn't catch, if you can't scribble fast enough as I'm blasting through some of this stuff, I want you to just say, hey, don't worry about it. Pay attention, stay present, stay focused, be in the moment, and then we'll have a recording of this so you guys can check this out later and go backward and say, what did he get that list of stuff, what was on there? And you can pause it, blow it up, and take a look at it, right? So what I want to start off with is I want to start off with a really quick history lesson, because I think it's important that you hear from somebody that's been through some of the real estate side of it and the financial side of it. I think it's really important that you understand why I believe this is very different than what happened in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's important that you see that perspective and you have a little bit of information. Now, I'm not going to pretend to predict the end of the world or knowing what's going to happen in the next 1 month or in the next 6 months or the next year. But I will tell you, there's a lot of really, really great stuff that's in the system right now. And there's a lot of really great stuff that's out there that gives me an idea of what we should expect going forward. Now, here's a crazy part. These days right now, everything is subject to change. I mean, literally every single day we get in here and we're moving through and we're like, hey man, like it was completely different today than it was yesterday. It's a completely different scenario than it was the day before. And if you look back a week ago, what people are saying, it's changed again. So of course, all of this is subject to change, and that'll be one of my points. So we're going to do a quick history lesson, and then I'm going to get into real quick thinking process that I started doing in 2012 that shifted the way I thought and shifted the way I do pretty much everything and think about almost everything. And I'm going to walk you through that process. And the cool part is, once you understand this process and what drives everything in your world, it gives you the ability to shift how you see almost everything. So literally this shift in 2012 I made, then resigned from one of the best paying jobs I ever had in my life, and then went out and completely changed my world and changed my life from 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then I did another change in 18, and I'm dealing with the ramifications of that right now because that sucked, reinventing myself again. But I use the same exact process again to get the results that I want out of my life. So what we're finding is that people feel completely out of control. So we're going to talk about what's controllable right now and make sure you're getting focused on the right stuff. When you're feeling fear, you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling stress, you're feeling frustration, it's because you're focused on the wrong stuff. You're focusing on things you can't control. When you make that shift to focus on the things you can control, it changes the way you see stuff. It changes the feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, the world's going to end. Oh my gosh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Yeah, but is it happening to you right now? So I want you all to stop right this second and say, okay, in the next 5 seconds, is everything in my world right now okay? Am I okay? Am I breathing? Yes. Am I healthy enough? Yes. Am I alive? Yes. Do I have most of my people around me? Yes. Do I have enough food for the next 2 hours? Yes. Sometimes just stopping and saying, am I okay right now? If you can answer that question, it's like, am I okay right now? Yes. Is that subject to change? Absolutely. But let me hit you a news flash here, guys. You could drop dead right now. Every single one of us could drop dead right now. We could drop dead in the next half hour. We don't know when our time's coming. It's not like there's a book and you're like, hey, we're on chapter 12. That's the end of the book, the end, click. And you're like, I saw it coming, chapter 10, 11, 12. It doesn't always work like that. There are surprises in life. But what I do know is that I can choose what I'm doing today. I can choose what I'm doing right now. I can choose what I'm thinking right now. I can choose how I react right now. And I can choose to say, right now, I'm good. Is that subject to change? Absolutely. But right now, I'm good. And then an hour from now, right now, I'm still good. And you can look back at the day and say, hey, that was a good day because I was focused on what I've got right now. I'm focused on what's controllable. Okay, so we'll get into a little more detail on that. And I've got a list of things that we can start shifting to be able to enhance our lives during this time period. I've got a list of opportunities that you should be thinking about right now that'll make your life a little bit better and set yourself up for the future. I've got a list of a couple of skills that you can start working on right now that you probably should have been working on for the last 20 years, and you just don't have time to do it because right now, guess what? We have more time than we have almost anything else. For some of you, we have more time than money coming in. So I'm there too, right? Because my business shuts down and we stand here and go, okay, great. Well, I don't get to go to work and I don't get my every other week paycheck. I'm right there with you guys. So I'm not standing here on my high horse saying, hey, I'm all good. I'm not all good. Financially, it's going to be a struggle over the next couple of months. Health-wise, we have some things to worry about. My wife has fought with a muscle disease for the last 25 or so years. She has low white blood cell count. She's at a lot higher risk than a normal person at 48 years old would be. So we're being extremely protective and extremely careful right now because we have to be, right? So one of the questions I want you guys to start off with asking right now is, who am I saving by staying home? So when you're talking to your friends and you're talking to your family and you're talking to your kids and they're like, but I don't want to stay home. Ask this question: who am I saving by staying home? Because, you know, for most of us that are on this call right now and on this video right now, we're probably going to be fine. There's a 99+% chance that we're going to be fine. Almost everybody on this video call is probably going to be fine. But the actions that we take and the things that we do may have an adverse effect on somebody else. And that's where I'm focused, saying, listen, I'm probably good. It probably won't kill me. It probably won't even hurt me. I might not even notice it. But the fact that I could give this to somebody else that it could hurt makes it so I'm not going to be that guy, right? So somebody had posted the other day, said, if you had 100 M&Ms and 2 of them would kill you, would you eat the M&Ms? And I thought, well, that's kind of a brilliant way to look at it. But I think the reality is that's not actually accurate, because it's more accurate if you'd said something more like, if you had 100 M&Ms and by eating 2 of them and you don't know which 2, somebody else that you love died, would you avoid the M&Ms? Right? So the actions that we do probably won't hurt us. And because I know deep down most humans aren't selfish bastards when you really get down to it, if you say the things that you're doing could potentially harm somebody else, stop doing it. So I think by shifting from saying it's probably not going to hurt me to who could I hurt by accidentally, not on purpose, by doing things and going out and not paying attention and not being cognizant of what's going on and being careless and not being safe, what am I potentially spreading and who could that affect? So if you want to think about, it's like, who is that one person in your life that no matter what, I don't want to lose them over doing something stupid? Would you want to lose them over somebody else doing something stupid? Absolutely not. So let's think about those people and say, I'm doing this for Jerry, my father-in-law. Love that guy to death. Jerry's at risk. He's an older guy. He's pretty healthy for the most part, but he's had some struggles in the last year or two. When he gets sick, he gets a little sicker now. My mother-in-law, Diane, she's young and healthy. I know, I saw her face on here earlier. She's only like 25 and she's healthy as a horse. You couldn't kill her if you wanted to. Trust me, I've tried to kill her 20 times and she hasn't even noticed. I'm kidding, Diane. Totally kidding. I love my in-laws and I wouldn't want either one of them to be hurt by something I did or didn't do, or something one of you guys did or didn't do. So when you start thinking that shift, not, hey, I'm protecting me, it's not about me, it's about everybody else at this point. And I would say one of the most amazing things about this coronavirus nonsense that's going on and all the restrictions and all the fights, there are people that are coming together right now like they never have before. Let me give you a perfect example. I was walking yesterday. I'm taking a walk every single day, going out and doing my thing. After having 2 hips replaced, I'm not allowed to run anymore. So I'm taking my walk every day like I'm supposed to, like my wife's been beating me into doing all the time. And I was walking down one of the streets in my neighborhood. I started smelling this amazing, wonderful smell. And I don't know about you guys, but if there was one thing I was allowed to smell for the rest of my life, and you said, Russ, you can't smell anything else but one thing, what would that be? I love the smell of barbecue. It's my favorite smell in the world, right? Love the smell of barbecue. I could smell this smell from almost a half a mile away. And I was walking down the street. I turn the corner and I see one of the most amazing sights. There's 4 houses at the end of a street. I've never seen any of the owners ever. And I've been past their houses hundreds of times. Never see anybody outside. You've got 4 people, 4 families, 4 grills sitting on their sidewalks, sitting on their driveways, and the kids around. And they were doing an outdoor family picnic with the neighborhood picnic. They're doing a neighborhood barbecue and everybody stayed in their own yards. And I was like, you guys are amazing. I am so unbelievably impressed. And it was funny because a couple of these neighbors had never met each other. They've lived across the street for years and they never met each other. My neighbor across the street here, 2 doors down this way, never met the neighbor that's been there for a year. They've been there for a year. Those 2 have never met. They actually connected because somebody needed something. I posted it and she said, I got one. And they dropped it off and the neighbors met for the first time. They would have never met without this type of thing going on. So there are some amazing things going on in some of the communities. And the funny thing is, if you turn off Facebook, turn off the news, turn off the television, and stop listening to all the nonsense going on, when you look at people like Sarah, and you look at Anjanette, and you look at Catherine, and you look at Tom, and you look at Mike, and you look at Darren, there's a lot of really good people out there. And when you get into the core of things, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I put 2 clowns together and you start talking through, you realize you have way more in common than you have differences. And yes, we've got differences on the ends. But instead of seeing everybody as different, we got to start saying, hey guys, guess what? We have one thing in common right now. In the history of America, there's a couple of major events that have happened that polarized Americans and said, okay, everybody face the same direction. We're all in this boat together. World War II was the last one, right? So while America has been feeling more divided and more divided and more divided, when you get down to it, I have some people that I love that are Asian in my life. I have some people that I love that are Black in my life. I have some people that are Puerto Rican in my life that I think are amazing people. And when you get down to the core of who these people are, they have families, they have needs, they have desires, they have wants, they have stuff that they want in their life, just like I do. They want to live a good life. They don't want to struggle. They want to do good stuff. They want to make a difference. They want to help people when they get the opportunity. And when you get down to the core of who humans really are, they're actually pretty damn good. The problem we have, and this is something I've been bitching about for a while, is that we only get to see that 1% of knuckleheads doing stupid crap, and that's what we put in front of ourselves all the time. I wish we could start a channel called Good News, where they didn't talk about all the knuckleheads doing stupid crap. They just talked about the good things that humans were doing. And what you would find is that there's way more good stuff going on, way more good stuff going on than bad stuff going on. So it's extremely important in these times right now. We say, hey, guess what, guys? We all have a common enemy. Nothing unites people like having a common enemy. And right now, there's differences of opinion on how we should handle this. There's differences of opinion on how we should do things. There's different opinions on what this is going to affect and how it's going to affect. And you know what? When push comes to shove, here's what I expect from the people around me. I expect you to do the absolute best you can with what you're given. Are there going to potentially be some tough times? Absolutely. I'm not standing here going, everything's going to be fine. Everything's not going to be fine. There are going to be some people that die. There are going to be some people that get sick. There are going to be some people that lose their jobs. There are going to be some businesses that shut down. There are going to be some struggles. But I do know this for sure. If you don't give up, you can come back from damn near anything. Because this is something else that I've learned a long time ago. When times are really tough, and we went through that in 2005, 6, 7, 8 economically, people will bounce back. Does it take some time sometimes? Absolutely. Does it take a little more effort sometimes? Absolutely. Do we have to reinvent ourselves and do some things a little bit differently than we did before to be able to get to the same levels of success? Absolutely. But I will tell you this also. There were more millionaires made in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10 than there were in the history of America, because there's people that were taking money and investing money, and there were people that were taking that downturn and leveraging that downturn. There were people that were finding opportunities. There were people that lost a ton of money, and then there were other people that started picking up in 2010, 11, 12, 13 and seeing opportunities and doing amazing things and really starting to pad themselves and build wealth in a downturn. The best time to buy is when something's down. The best time to sell is when something's up. Unfortunately, we wait till everything's up and we're like, I think we're good. It's been good for 5 or 6 years. Now it's time to jump in. No, it's time to jump in 5 years ago. Right now, they're like, right now, just stay put, right? Just hang on to the handlebars, enjoy the ride, because that's all you got to do, right? Does worrying for 1 minute make it better? Absolutely not. Does fearing what's coming tomorrow make it any better? Absolutely not. So what we can control is we can control our reactions. I'll get into that in a second. So let me give you a really quick history lesson on why this hit, economic hit slash business hit slash real estate hit, is completely different. Hey there, Jerry. I just saw Jerry. That's my father-in-law, by the way. My father-in-law, mother-in-law, two of my favorite people in the world. I'm glad you guys jumped on here. They don't get to see me do this very often, so I'm kind of excited for them to get to see me. Now I got to be nervous, right? Should I be nervous, Jerry?
No.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to do my thing.
Be nervous.
Awesome. I'm going to just do my thing then. All right. So here's my input on this. And guys, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I cannot tell you I'm 100% certain on parts of this, because everybody's perspective is a little bit different. But overall, I'm going to give you a really gross generalization on what happened in 2005, 6, 7. 2005, 6, 7, economy was booming. Regulations were reduced. The mortgage industry was doing crazy stuff with mortgages. They were doing what we called stated income, stated assets. We call them basically nobody saw anything loans. They didn't verify any information, and people were doing things that they should have never done. And then the banks were bundling those packages saying, this is A paper stuff, when it was actually C and D paper stuff. And then when the economy tightened up a little bit, the default rates on some of these mortgage packages were way higher than they were anticipated to be. And what happened is we had this drop in 2006, 7, 8, 9. That was a really steep drop. It was economic, hard hit economic. Banks were hit really hard because they had leveraged into these assets that didn't perform at the way they were supposed to. So they were having failure rates at way higher levels than they anticipated. And banks were saying, hey, we can't sustain these losses. We didn't anticipate these losses, and some of the banks were failing, and that's when the government stepped in and started making adjustments. Large companies can't function when there's no liquidity in the market. That means money has to flow. It's kind of like a river. If you stop the river up, guess what happens? Things start getting broken. You get flooding, you get messes, you get disasters, you get houses wiped out. So what happens is you need this to flow, and you need to flow reasonably consistent. If a river gets way too much water, you got a problem. If it's got way too little water, you've also got a problem. So there's a certain level of flow that got interrupted in here, which hurt us economically and hurt us financially, and also destroyed the real estate market. Then these people with these stated income, stated asset loans that couldn't afford them started defaulting on them at massive numbers, and that's what killed the real estate industry in 2006. So let's fast forward to 13. The market started to stabilize, things started to flatten out, things started to get smooth, people started to feel more confident, and then prices started to rise, and then we had pent-up demand in a lot of industries, because normally 5 to 6 million people sell their house every year. When that's cut in half, 5 years in a row, you've got 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 million people saying, hey, I didn't move over the last couple of years, but now I'm going to. And what they did is they started buying up properties, and supplies went down, demand went up, and we have inventory levels in some markets still, like Detroit, 2.1 month supply of homes, Tampa, 2.7 month supply of homes. We have some markets that have ridiculously low inventories here still in 2020. So here we fast forward to 2020. We have the coronavirus issue. Is this going to take an economic hit? Absolutely. Is it the same type of hit as was going on in 2006? Absolutely not. We don't have illiquidity in the banks. You don't have mortgage bundles by the billions and trillions of dollars that were not correct. You don't have the economic instability that caused 06. You don't have the fundamentals that were not solid. Going into 2020, going into the last couple of weeks, solid economics, solid stock market, good company strength, low unemployment, really low supplies of homes, good appreciation in homes over the last 7, 8 years in most markets. Supplies are down. There's a lot of really great stuff that was going on in 2020, coming into 2020. So when we say, how did this go in 2006? People have said, is this going to be like that? Should I dump everything now? My input would be no, and simply because the fundamentals are completely different than what drove that drop in 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we should be looking at this more like a 9/11 event. And when we had the 9/11 event, that made a little blip down. We did lose some jobs, some companies folded, things like that happened. The airlines got destroyed, and they put themselves back together again, right? In this scenario, I don't expect it to be as long-term of a hit because it's not that type of economic crash. Will there be byproducts of an event? Absolutely. So this is an event-driven shift, not a fundamental screwed up market-driven shift. So I would expect there to be a drop over the next couple of months. And then, of course, coming back out of a drop is always slower than going in the drop. It's kind of like a roller coaster. It goes down really easy, and it slows down on the way back up. Very similar to the way markets move. So will it take a little bit of time to get going back again? Absolutely. Are there a lot of people that are saying we probably will go right back to where we were before over the next year? I believe some of those people seems to be correct to me. And I know, let's say from a real estate perspective in Detroit market and Tampa market, I will tell you that we have a lot of insulation built in the real estate market. If the inventory in Tampa and Detroit doubled, we'd still be in a seller's market. If the inventory of homes doubles, so Tampa market goes from 8,000 to 16,000 homes, we'd still be below a 6-month supply of homes, which is a good neutral balanced market. So in some regards, this will actually help buyers that they'll have a little bit more selection, okay? So when we see things like this happen, some people are just like, oh my God, it's gonna change, it's gonna fall, the sky is gonna fall. And my thinking process is more like CEO thinking process. See, a CEO is thinking, what does this mean in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years? What can we do now, shift now, see now, do differently now that affects us for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years? I'll tell you what, I've got this little thing written up here. This is an email address of a guy that I reached out to 2 days ago. And I reached out to this guy and I said, hey, I've got some real estate market related information I'd like to share with you. And this guy's a financial advisor. Sarah on here is a financial advisor. By the way, I'll be doing those videos today, tomorrow, now that I get a better handle on what's going on. And I'm going to send him a video on what's going on in the market. And I'm able to connect to somebody I was never able to connect to before. I will be able to connect to some people I could never connect to before because now I have something they need. So when things go sad and things go rough and things change and things shift and businesses shift, we have to say, where is the opportunity in this? Perfect example. Robert Garcia is on here somewhere, right? He's my bike guru. I bought a couple of different bicycles from him. Actually, one of my bikes hanging on my wall, I bought from Robert. And somebody texted in or hit in Facebook today, hey, I'm looking for a bike. I can't find a bike. And somebody said, hey, I've got a bike. And she goes, no, I need 4 of them. And I was like, you need 4 bikes. I know a guy that's got 4 bikes. Robert is now connected with this person that needs 4 bikes, right? So there are opportunities. You think she'd be looking for a bike if we didn't have this hit? Probably not, because she'd be doing her normal stuff, sitting online, running around, running kids to sports, doing her normal life. They wouldn't have time to do a family bike ride. So from a history lesson standpoint, is this different than before? Absolutely. Where will this end? Nobody knows. Where will this really go? Nobody knows. If we get this reasonably under control, like they did in China, and we start dampening things like they're starting to get going on in Italy, we've got a chance at this thing starting to roll right back up, and things should go back in a more normal direction. Will they go back to normal immediately? No. Are there going to be long-term hits? Yes. But it's not going to be 6, 7, 8 years based on what we're looking at today. Is that subject to change? Absolutely. 2 weeks from now, I'll do the same call and I'll give you an update. I still think that's the truth. It's going to be a blip. It's not going to be a slam dunk hammer drive off a cliff. Okay? So with that being said, what we are focused on as Americans typically, and this is part of the problem, is we're a lot focused on ourselves. And listen, I'm just like you guys too. I want a good life and I want to do my stuff. I want to do my stuff my way. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do either. But when we look at this shift in the way we think changes everything. If you think things are good, you're more likely to see things that are good. If you think all people are bad, you're going to spot all the bad people because that's what you're looking for. This has gone through in the 2011, 12, 13, 14. It was really big. They called it the law of attraction. They called it, they had the secret version that came out. And basically it was just a new way of expressing something that's been around forever. We know for a fact what we focus on expands. If I'm looking for Volkswagen bugs, like when we were kids, we were driving along, we would play slug bug. And when we played slug bug, my brothers would be sitting in the back seat, 4 of us in a row in the back seat, all within 5 years. And when anybody saw a Volkswagen bug, you punch your brother. Well, I will tell you that ended really badly a lot of times, because we pretty much ended up, my dad would pull off the side of the road and beat the crap out of all of us, because it ended up into a full brawl in the back seat most of the time. But what the thing was is, like, you don't notice Volkswagen bugs until you're looking for them. And when you start looking for them, you start to see them. So the funny thing is, in the next week or two, you guys are going to be driving around and you're going to see a Volkswagen bug and you're like, dang, Russ just pre-programmed my brain to find that stupid thing, right? So you can program your brain to spot the things that you're looking for. So we know we are results driven. So if you want to get specific results in your life, your results come from your actions. The things you do give you results. The things you do come from where? The things you do come from your feelings. Your feelings are the things that drive actions. If you feel like doing something, you do it. If you don't feel like doing something, you don't do it, or you're more likely to try to avoid it, or you do it begrudgingly, right? So the key is to shift your feelings. And now the question of the day becomes, well, Russ, how do I shift my feelings? Well, I'll tell you, the easiest way to shift your feelings is shifting the way you think, right? So let's say, for example, somebody will say, I've heard this a couple times, and I've actually talked about this at a couple weddings I officiated. People talk about, well, you don't understand, Russ. I don't feel like I'm in love. I fell out of love with them. You don't fall in love. You don't fall out of love. You think yourself in love. You think yourself out of love. When you first meet somebody, you're looking for the good stuff. You're looking for the good stuff that matches the good stuff that you want. You're not looking at all of their flaws or looking for all of their flaws. You say, oh my gosh, it's so cute when he does that. And Jerry and Diane will attest, my in-laws will attest after they've been married for 50 years, that thing that he did that was cute when they were first dating isn't so cute anymore. After 50 years of that, it's not so cute anymore, right? So the thing, when we're looking for things that we love about somebody, we see things we love about somebody. When we're looking for things that we hate about somebody, we hate everything about them. If you want a perfect example, not a political statement, look at how people treat Trump right now. Like him or hate him, nothing that guy can do in some people's eyes will ever be good enough. Are they 100% right? You know what? They've got a right to not like some of the things he does. But the guy's not all good or all bad. I'm not all good or all bad. Some of the stuff I say today, you might not love. But that doesn't mean I'm all bad. If you're looking to find a way to say that Russ guy's an idiot, you can pick apart every single thing I say. Because here's the crazy part. Here's the jacked up part about everything. I'm going to tell you guys something that's amazing. You're going to love this. Everyone's right all the time. You are right all the time. And every time I say this when I'm in a speaking engagement and I say this, the ladies are like, yes, I told you so. Ladies, go home, go to your significant other and look at them and say, Russ said this today and I believe him. He said, I'm right. So here's the messed up part. You are right, but that doesn't mean I'm not right too. The issue is I'm right for me, from my history, from my past, from my experience, from the things I've seen, the things I've done, the things I've been around, good stuff that has happened, bad stuff that has happened, the people I surround myself with, the people that I think like, the people I associate with, and you are right based on all those same criteria. So when I start looking at people, we're starting to say here, it's like, seek understanding is one of the things I want to talk about at the end here. Seek understanding. Let's jump into it right now. When you start looking at somebody and they say something crazy, you go, these people are crazy. The next thing I always try to ask, so I don't get pissed off when it doesn't match my stuff, my crazy stuff. See, my crazy is different than your crazy. And that's why you think I'm crazy and I think you're crazy, because my crazy is just different than yours. We're all a little crazy. We're just different crazy. And we tend to line up with the people that are crazy like us, right? So when you start saying, what would they have to have experienced, seen, done, or happened to them, or gone through for them to think like that? It changes the way you look at it. So instead of saying, these people are idiots, it's like, what would they have to have gone through? So when you put food in front of a kid that's been starved his whole life and he swallows it whole and you're like, holy crap, what the heck's wrong with him? So this kid was starved his whole life, man. When you put food in front of him, he scarfs down as much of it as he can, as fast as he can, because he knows he might not get more of it. It's a completely different way of looking at it than saying, God, that kid's a pig. You don't know why. So you start saying, why is this person like this? And then how do I react to that? So when we start getting into that thought process on the controllable things, we can control what we think. So instead of saying, this person is this, or that person is that, or this person I don't agree with because boom, 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 you start saying, how do I react to that? So I've seen some stuff on Facebook, and I'm telling you what, man, this is like I'm pretty easygoing for the most part. And I look at stuff, I'm pretty good at just going, that person, I don't agree with that person, but whatever, to each their own. And I will tell you, there have been times I'm seeing stuff on Facebook and I'm going, I mean, my blood pressure's starting to go up. I'm like, how can that person even say something like that? What is wrong with somebody to think that or say that out loud? Why don't they agree with me, basically, is what I'm saying, because there's no way in the world you could see it like that. You see all the facts, and one person will take it one way, another person takes it another way. And the one thing that I can control is I can control my reaction. So one of the other things on my list here is, let's see here, Facebook is on here somewhere. Stop, let's put a stop the negative, right? If you go on Facebook right now and it pisses you off, stop going on Facebook. Here's even a better process, because there's some good people on Facebook doing some good stuff, right? You guys all saw this probably from seeing it on Facebook. If you see somebody on Facebook that's negative, hey guys, you know what? Some people, that's their way of dealing with it. You can block them for a short period of time. You don't have to unfriend them and say, I'm never going to talk to them again. Because that's just crazy too, because sometimes having perspective and hearing other people's thoughts makes me think a little different, go, you know, never really thought of it like that. Why would they come up with that? How would they come up with that? It makes me think through things a little bit differently and makes me a better person. So I kind of like that. But there are certain people on there, I'm like, this guy's off the chain, right? I'm like, I don't want to see this anymore. So I can put them on a temporary hold so I don't see them anymore. Block the people you don't want to see. I'm going to tell you what, I don't think anybody in the world has ever said, being on Facebook all day has made my life better. I don't think anybody could really say that. Is Facebook a tool to enhance your life and enhance connections and be able to see some really great stuff? Absolutely. Is it a really good resource for perfect news that's accurate? No. Is it a really good place to see everybody's opinion that matters? Not really, because some of these people are just coming from completely opposite ways. And if you're seeing stuff and it's pissing you off all the time and screwing up your thinking process, stop looking at it. Stop watching the negative. The other night we were finishing up. I was fiddling in the garage like I normally do, which is, by the way, they call it my garage and my workshop. We call it my social distancing shop now, because apparently I socially distant really well most evenings by working on stuff. And my wife had turned on the TV or flipped the channel, and something was coming on about the COVID stuff, and it was going through it. And I was like, hey, shut that off. You don't need that crap in your head right now, because now she's going to go to bed frustrated and aggravated and stressed out and fearful. My wife is a much more fearful person because she catches more things than most people. Heck, Diane, you remember her like sophomore year of high school? She got mono, she got strep throat, she got bronchitis. She was out of school like 6 or 8 weeks of the year because she catches everything and she gets bad versions of it. So is she more fearful than most people? Yeah, she's got good reason to be. In this one, she's got good reason to be. But she's always scared of stuff. Like, I'm the one that goes charging in like an idiot with my eyes wide open and don't really care, and we'll figure it out. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm all throttle, she's all brake. So if we were a car, we'd go pretty much nowhere. So I'm trying to go and she's putting the brake on everywhere we go. She's like you remember when you're in driver's ed back when we were kids, in the passenger seat, the guy had the brake he could hit to stop the car? I'm like full throttle. Dana's over there pumping the brakes. So we actually turned out to be pretty good balance, because otherwise I'd be doing 200 miles an hour everywhere, okay? So when we're focusing on the things that we can control what we think, and we can control what we experience. We can control what we see. We can control what we expose ourselves to. And if something's ruining your day, stop doing that to yourself. And it's not like, I really need to know all the details. Hey guys, here's the deal. At this point in the game, you need to shelter in place. You need to keep yourself away from other people. You need to wash your hands a whole lot. T-Rex, don't touch your face, right? Act like a T-Rex. Do not touch your face no matter what you do. So you got to start doing that. Pretend like you got little short arms. Put them in your pockets if you have to, so you can control those things. For the next couple of days, shut it off. Guess what? This information is going to find you anyway, so you don't have to stare at it all day, because it's not going to make your life better. Go out and do something, or block off 1 hour, find all the information I can, and I'm going to rely on that for the rest of the day. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a reset. The rest of the day, I'm going to say, right now, I'm fine. Right now, I have enough food. right now I have enough toilet paper. And by the way, if you don't have enough toilet paper, just post that on Facebook. There'll be 10 people that will volunteer to get you some. By the way, I've seen that. Somebody said, I'm running out of toilet paper. Like, I've got some extras. Where are you at? And they're literally helping other people. So there are some good things that are going on Facebook, right? So one of the things within Controllable is starting to ask this question. Instead of saying, here's what's happening, here's what's happening, here's what's happening, what can I do? So shifting from saying this to what can I do? What can I do to make this better? What can I think? What can I do to think differently? What can I do to have more experience? What can I do versus what I can't do? So right now we've got a lot of people that are going on lockdown. I know a lot of my friends in Michigan, family in Michigan is on lockdown. They're not supposed to leave their house, shelter in place. And what I've heard a lot of, and not from my family, of course, but I've heard a lot of going on out there and seen is people going, well, I can't do this, and 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 I can't do this. And it's like, if that's what you're focused on, it's going to screw up your life. It's going to screw up your day. By the way, parents, if that's what you're saying, that's what your kids are going to be feeling too. So instead of saying what you can't do, or you're going to hear your kids say, well, I want to go to the movies. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like, well, we can't do that, but what can we do? When you start asking that question, it opens it up to all kinds of crazy possibilities. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm uniquely qualified to say, you guys need to learn to ask this question, because when I was in my early 20s and we got married, Diane and Jerry and Jeanette can attest to this. My wife and I got married. She started fighting with a muscle disease a couple years earlier. And she got to the point where she couldn't stand for long periods of time. And then when she couldn't get to the point where she could, when she got to the point where she couldn't sit for long periods of time, that's when life started to really suck. Here we are in our early 20s, and my wife can't sit for more than 15 or 20 minutes, which means you can't go out to dinner, you can't go to the movies, you can't, right? And the only thing that saved us from murdering each other, number one, and the only thing that saved us and our marriage at that point is I started asking this question, well, what can we do? We started finding things we can do. We can go to parks and lay down. We could go to places where she can. So we found things that we can do. Now, do we do other things separate from each other? Absolutely, because there's things that she can't do that I can. So I'm not going to stop living my life. But we found a lot of things that we had the ability to do, and we found things that we enjoyed to do together, and that's what we focused on. We don't focus on what we can't do. The fact that I haven't been out to a nice dinner at a nice restaurant with my wife in 25 years is not something I focus on. What I do focus on is we can get takeout and we go nice places and sit. We can get takeout and go back to the house. We focus on the things that we can do. And that has absolutely made it so that I've been married 25 years. And I will tell you, most of it happily. We want to kill each other sometimes, but that's just part of life, right? That's just normal, right? You see, my mother-in-law wants to kill my father-in-law probably like within the last hour. She's probably thought that. She's probably thinking that right now. He's like, he's going to retire in April. He's going to live about 30 days. She's going to murder him. So what can I do? What can we do together? If you focus on that and you get your kids focused on it, guess what, guys? This is a life lesson. This is a shift that you can make now. You're being forced to make this shift. And this is a shift that can benefit you for the rest of your life. When you start learning to ask better questions, you can change your life. So let's shift to a business topic. For the business people that are on here, what opportunities are there out there right now? So like for me, I had a session on Tuesday. We had 100 people in a session on Tuesday in our EXP world, which is our virtual real estate world. I belong to a virtual real estate company. And the virtual real estate company, funny enough, is perfectly positioned to keep on plowing along in this like nothing ever happened. So when people are talking about, well, our offices are shut down and this is shut down, it almost doesn't affect the way our company works because we're already virtual. Everybody's remote already. When you say stay at home, they're like, well, that's what I did yesterday. It's no different, right? So what opportunities are there? Are there opportunities in this industry? So I've had the opportunity to connect to some financial advisors that I normally wouldn't be able to connect with, because now I have information that they need to know, specifics about real estate and specific statistics, so they can use that information to talk to their clients. So I've said, okay, this is an opportunity for me to connect to people that I would never be able to connect to before, and do some things for people I would never be able to do before. It gives me the ability to do this and see you guys where I wouldn't have had the ability and opportunity to do this and make connections and make a difference. Like, my goal in life is to be able to get myself in a position where I'm financially free enough to be able to do this kind of stuff, to be able to make differences in other people's lives. This is what I get a kick out of. This is my favorite thing in the world to do, is to help get people moving in the right direction, get their brains going in the right direction, making good choices, seeing opportunities, seeing what they can do, and feeling better about life. That's one of my favorite things in the world to do. I like selling houses, but I really like helping other people change their life more. It's my favorite thing in the world, right? So that's what I'm trying to do with my life and my world. So here's a fun one right now, another shift. You hear people say this all the time. Well, Russ, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to do. You have more time now than you've ever had in the last 5 years to do all those things that you said, I can't do it because I don't have time. Are you not doing it because you don't have time, or you're not doing it because you're not doing it, right? You can't go out to restaurants for the most part, so you can eat healthier now just because you have to. You have some time, so you might as well go for a walk if you can. Go for a bike ride if you can. Take the whole family for a walk. I've seen some of the kids out there. Some of them need to go for a walk. And by the way, I've seen some of your animals too. Some of your animals need to go for a walk too. Food equals love in a lot of places. Go walk those dogs. Those chunky little monkeys need to go for a walk. So do you. So do I. I'm doing it. We're getting out there. Get out there and start doing it. If you can't make this stuff happen now, here, you take your feet up off the floor, guys, 'cause I'm going to smash some toes. If you can't do this now, it isn't time. It's you. It's you, right? Because how we do anything is how we do everything. We blame stuff away, or we take responsibility for stuff. So right now, this is a really great opportunity for you to say, hey guys, I'm going to take control of my life. I'm going to take control of the technology in my house. These kids sitting on their devices all day, and the family members just sitting on their devices all day. And by the way, parents, I see you at dinner like this, nobody talking all the time. This is a really great time for you to say, what's important to me? And this is the opportunity to make those shifts and those changes in life. This gives you the excuse to make your family do the things that you know are important, right? When I interview people and interview real estate agents and interviewed employees and interviewed other people in my life and had conversations with people in my life, and I ask them what's important to them, I will tell you there's two things that come up all the time. And I mean all the time. It's not like most of the time, some of the time, part of the time, and I'm exaggerating. All of the time, people come up with the same two things. God is important and family is important. Usually it's either one of those two, first or second. It's one or the other, first or second, God or family. This is your chance now to act like it. You say family is really important? Let's figure out a way to make your family really important. Is family more important than your cell phone? Yeah? So put the stupid thing down and be focused on your family. One of the things I do love about our family and my Michigan family and my in-laws, when we go to dinner, everybody's not sitting there banging away on their devices all the time. The two nieces, the young ones, they didn't have phones to do that with for many, many years. They do now, but even now, people sit down. Everybody's not sitting on their cell phone the whole time. And I'll tell you what, you actually communicate and you find out our Uncle Dennis is a little weird. He's been weird his whole life, but you know that because he actually said stuff out loud, right? He's weird. He's got a strange sense of humor. I love the guy. And we get to interact instead of just sitting there typing in your own little world. We have socially isolated ourselves with technology these days. And now's the time you can turn that around and stop that. Start building habits right now. And the habits you build over the next 3 weeks because you're forced to are habits you can take on for the rest of your life. And you can say, and a lot of people will say, I just touched my face. I got to go wash my hands. A lot of people will say, this is the moment in life. Remember that Corona? That's when we changed and took control of our family. That's when we changed our life and started to focus on the things that are really important to us. When you take out all the games and all the other stuff and the nonsense and all the busy stuff and the technology and a lot of the technology out of your life, you start to figure out what's really important to you. And this is an opportunity for you all and me even to get back to what's important to you. So use this as an opportunity. Okay, so let's dig into a couple of interesting things and then I'll wrap up because I know you guys probably have a ton of other stuff to do, right? Oh, no, you don't. You got nothing to do anymore. So you can watch this for a minute. Opportunity. You have an opportunity to help other people. There are opportunities all around you and you can use this to help other people. Use this. Help some other people. Look for opportunities to help other people. Look for opportunities to connect to people. I'm seeing my in-laws' face right now, my sister-in-law's face, and friends of mine's face, and old people that I worked with, and people from my history and past. You guys come from all walks of life, and I'm connected to every single one of you now today, and I might not have done that if it wasn't for this. Could I be plowing along in my busy life? So reconnect to people that are important to you. Get face to face with them. You guys can't catch anything from me from here, right? The only thing I've slobbered on right now is my computer screen, and I spittle a little bit when I talk, but my computer screen is the only thing that gets hit. So the great part is call people on the phone, but do this. This is way better than calling people on the phone because you can see my face and you can see my eyebrows shoot all over my forehead like they do when I talk. It's just the way my face works. I didn't even know that until I started shooting video of myself. I had no idea my eyebrows shot all over my head when I talked until I started doing video all the time. I can't control it. It's just my face. It's the way it works. Connect to people. Do more video. It's really important. People feel more connected. They can see my face. You can see that I'm happy and smiley, right? Okay. Figure out what's important to you. Sit down with your kids. Like, what's the most important thing to you right now? Sit down with your spouse. What's the most important thing to you right now? Redefine what's important to you. Do you really need all this other stuff, or is that just busy background noise? What's really important to you? Get focused on that. Drop some of the tech. Somebody did what? I don't know what the heck that is. How did that go? All right, I don't know what this is. Somebody did a screen share here?
Oh, me, sorry.
Mike, what are you doing, man? I was like, how the heck did you do that? I was like, I didn't touch anything. I know I didn't touch anything. Technology, learn how to use technology. Learn how to block Mike from messing up your technology. Heck, Mike, I didn't even know you could do that. I got to figure out how to stop that.
Just establish which Mike that is, though, right?
But Mike Dyer, yeah, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Russ.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's Mike Dyer. I'll blame him, right? Technology, learn some new technology, learn new stuff about technology, do things you've never done before, right? Family, get focused on your family. Get refocused on God. It was funny, I saw a post the other day. The Pope actually announced that if you can't go to confessional and confess your sins to a priest, you can actually do it directly with God now. I was like, are you kidding me? This was actually said out loud, and I thought, that is brilliant. I don't have to go to confession. I could just tell my stuff to God, and God will forgive me directly. I thought that was amazing. Is that a shift? The Catholic Church changed. What? That never happens, right? So this is your shot, right? You say, well, it's so hard with all this stuff. Well, your life slows down. If God really is important to you, then do something about it. Now's the time, right? I don't know anybody that's saying, I'm so thrilled at how unbelievably, ridiculously busy and fast-paced my life is. What I keep hearing people saying is, gosh, we really need to slow down. I need to slow down. My kids need to slow down. My family needs to slow down. We need to slow down and enjoy the ride. This is a great time for you guys to slow down. Enjoy it. You might twitch for the first couple of days because it's different, but enjoy that and find peace in that. Some of the skills that you guys can work on and do right now that could be important to you, I know a lot of people are like, well, I wish I had time to meditate. Now you have a little bit of time to meditate. You have time to focus on your health. Guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, the healthier you are, the better chance you've got of not dying with this stuff. So start those habits now. You can't go out to eat all the time, so you're going to get less calories. You move a little bit more. Come out of this thing. I saw a picture of like the skinny chick leaned over in the refrigerator pulling stuff, and she looked kind of cute. You know, she had all the right parts in all the right places. And it was like before COVID-19, and then like 3 months later after COVID-19, she's all housed out, just giant tank. You know, I'm going. Like, people are like, I'm going to be 400 pounds heavier by the time this thing gets done. That doesn't have to be you. While it's funny, haha, but literally it's the choices you make on a day-to-day basis. So it's not because you're too busy now. It's because that's a choice you make. Make different choices. It's a good time to focus on your health, okay? Move more. By the way, guys, sleeping is really good for you. I don't know anybody that's like, I've got so much time. I get so much sleep. It's amazing. I always hear people crabbing about not getting enough sleep. Guess what, guys? Now you get to get some sleep. Make a mandatory shutdown at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Take a nap in the middle of the day. Get extra sleep. Get caught up on this. Start building good habits now. Establish a bedtime and stick to it. Tell everybody 9 o'clock, all devices are shut off in the house. We're going to wind down and everybody goes to sleep. If you go full throttle and try to lay down and go to sleep, you see people posting on Facebook at 3 a.m. Anybody else have insomnia? Well, shoot, if you got your stupid phone on in your hands, ringing next to you and lighting up all night, it's no wonder you can't sleep. And the fact that you're posting on Facebook in the middle of the night, come on, guys. Like, that's not going to help the situation. Everybody knows these devices stimulate your brain, makes you sleep less. So shut your stuff down early. When the sun goes down, shut the stuff down if you need to. Okay. This is a really, really great time to do some new learning. There's some skills that you might need to learn that you haven't had time to learn. There's some things on YouTube that you haven't seen that you could learn. By the way, Fender Guitars is doing free online guitar lessons and ukulele lessons for the next 3 months, right? Now, Mike Dyer's laughing. That's funny. I've built 50 electric guitars and I have no idea how to play. So
Right.
maybe I should learn how to play a guitar in the next couple of months instead of saying I'm going to. I've got a little more time. Maybe it's time to actually learn something. But you can learn that. You can learn cooking. If you guys don't know where to go cooking, Betty Crocker has some old school stuff from the 70s that's amazing. Try some old school recipes. Teach your children how to cook. Instead of cooking for them, teach them how to cook. Turn them into a chef. They could feed you for the rest of your life, right? They say, give a man a fish, feed him for the day. Teach your kids to fish. They can cook for you for the rest of your life. Just made that one up. I hope you guys like it, okay? Some ideas for you guys on ways you can do things and things you can do different. I told you about the neighborhood cookout. Tell the neighbors, go throw a rock with a note through their window because you're not allowed to touch them. Tell your neighbors, hey, let's do a neighborhood barbecue if you're somewhere where it's warm enough to do that. Everybody pull your barbecues out, get in the front yard and barbecue some stuff, right? Don't go near each other, but do a barbecue. You'll be amazed what your neighbors are like if you get outside and talk to them a little bit. You can do family feeds. So you can do family feud. So Mike Dyer, you get your family together. You get somebody else to get their family together, and you can play games virtually online, right? Compete with other families. Have some fun. Get them online and goof around with them. Do some stuff virtually on games. Put each other on video while you're playing games or doing something. One of the things that I did the other day, guys, Friday night, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we had happy hour. We had a happy hour on Zoom. Every single person was on Zoom like this. They were like, cheers. Everybody was sitting wherever they were sitting. We were having a couple of drinks, having a good time, talking shop, just talking nonsense, goofing off. There was like 15 or 20 people on there for an hour. And then there was a different group of people came in the next hour, and a different group of people came in the next hour. And it was like 2-3 hours of people just hanging out, doing this and communicating with each other like humans instead of just talking at each other, texting each other. They actually talked to each other. People told some funny stories. People told some family stuff. A couple of people told some stupid jokes that were stupid. And it was fun and it was enjoyable. So do a virtual happy hour if you want, right? Let's see. Cook out together, try something new, play some games, turn your phones off, do a bonfire. No electronics bonfire. You want to talk about bonding? Grab some s'mores if you can find them in the parts and pieces for s'mores. Grill some hot dogs. Go camping in your backyard. If you've got a tent, go camping in your backyard if you can. If it's too cold, don't do that. Don't freeze to death, okay? There are a lot of really great things that you guys can do right now that you would never take the time to do if it wasn't for these things going on. So with that being said, I just hit the 1 hour mark. I'm going to shut this thing down. I'm going to stay on for a couple minutes so I can answer any questions you guys might have about any of this stuff. Feel free to share this. I will post this on a couple of my different sites. But guys, here's one thing I know. You can come out of this thing broken or you can come out of this thing better. And it's up to you. And you choose the way you react. You choose the way you think. You choose what you do. You choose how you respond to these types of things. And I know one thing that's really great about Americans is when we're pushed back into a corner, we can come out fighting hard and we can come out of this thing stronger. Support each other. Look out for the good in each other and be there for each other. And by the way, when this is all done, this world could be a lot better place. Are there going to be some issues? Absolutely. But can this world be a better place because of this? Absolutely can if we make it that way. That's all I got for today. I'll stick around for you guys to chat.